Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another comic show. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you are in this comic book universe. I'm Technique. I'm sitting here with the co-host Matthew, aka Nighthawk Plays. What's going on, brother?
What's up, Frank? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, man. Happy Saturday.
Yeah.
We're
Happy
back.
Saturday, man. Happy Saturday. I'm tired as hell because I stay up until 6 a.m. for no reason.
I saw. I
But
woke. I woke up this morning to feed Chloe, and I saw you tweeted like 5 minutes ago. I'm like, oh, he was up late last night.
yeah, man. But at the end of the day, I get up sometimes.
Yes.
Um, we only sleep once because the clock didn't wake me up. But
It happens.
uncomfortable nights lately because it's just hot, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the weather's depending on where you are. It's changing. Like this morning, it's crazy over here. I go outside. It looks like it's about to pour, and I get a cool breeze. And then I was like, oh, it's really humid outside. This is strange. So yeah, weather, Mother Nature, she's lovely.
Yep. And those, I just want to warn you. Early on, it may look like I'm resting bitch face, so to speak, but I'm actually okay. But my mouth is in pain. Because I bit my lip and my mouth. I have very thin tissue, so it always turns into a great, lovely canker sore. And I have one in the back of my throat too because I sleep with the fan on. Why? Because it's hot. I can't win. I just can't win. But you know what can win? Comics.
Yes.
And that's what we got going on today.
Yes.
As usual. So we're gonna do a quick little recap and a little bit of talk about what our goal is and what we're aiming for and stuff that we're coming in the future. We're gonna talk about GCX, what we did with that because that was really awesome. I feel we killed it on GCX. What a way to open up GCX to everybody.
Oh man, that's a highlight for me. That was absolutely a blast. Obviously, the people that we talked with, which we'll talk about in a second, and just being part of GCX as part of a panel was amazing. And like you said, I think we absolutely killed it.
Yeah. We're gonna be talking about the video games because at the end of the day, we're all gamers at the end of the day, right? So we can talk about Marvel Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, where video games are going, the studios that are running those games. Also, the most important thing we're gonna talk about. Well, we're gonna talk about E3 and Summerfest because that's very important.
Yes.
But the biggest importance is Loki, and I hope you did your homework because we're diving in Loki episodes 2 and 3. We won't do an extremely deep dive, but we're going to be kind of like spoofed around stuff. I wouldn't call it, it's definitely spoiler alert, but at the end of the day, if you haven't watched the episode, I think that you're still going to be really surprised and that you're still going to love every bit of it. So if you haven't watched it and you still want to hear our stuff, don't worry. We're not going to be like really ripping it apart and showing you images and stuff like that. We're just going to kind of talk about it. That way it's still kind of protected and censored by your eyes. So I guess we can get right into it. The recap of GCX show. Matt, what was your favorite parts?
I mean, I've been a fan of Rare Drop. I've been a fan of GCX Guardian Con for quite a couple of years now, pretty much since its inception. And I wear my heart on my sleeve. So when I say like it was an absolute honor to start us off right after the keynote of St. Jude, I mean it truly was. Outside of the personal aspect of it, that means the world to me. I absolutely love the show, deep diving into you and really diving into I know we talk about Loki and we'll talk about video games, but where we grew up on comic books with Declan and with Declan Shalvey and Stephen Mooney, both amazing writers and comic book artists for Marvel, DC, and abundance of other properties as well. Hearing how they got into it, right? Hearing what they've been through, what they recently just did with the variant artwork, and even their opinion on Marvel and DC when it comes to movies, being the writers of or inspiration for what's going on in the comic book world. I absolutely loved it. I thought I thought it was a kick-ass panel. How about you?
Yeah, big same. Stephen Mooney and Declan Shalvey were just really great guests to have because we really didn't have to do much work at all.
Oh my God.
They came to us and said that, we're idiots at the end of the day when it comes to technology. As long as you have everything set up, we'll take care of the rest. And boy, did they.
Yes.
It was like we blinked and the show was over, which I knew was going to happen, but I didn't freaking out. Yay.
Yeah, it just reconnected.
Oh, okay, well, we're gonna have freaky camera face.
Freaky camera face. Apologies, everyone. My
I was going to switch over to me if I needed to. Give me one second.
my internet connection decided to drop out there really quick. Yeah, that's always fun when things happen like that, you know. Just give us a second. Apologies, boys and girls.
I gotta reconnect to this because this is
yeah. Just going back and forth. You gotta love technology. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. Yep, you're good. No. Right. Oh, yep, you're good.
Like we were saying, those guys were great. They had a lot of fun, so much fun that we're gonna bring them back eventually down the road. They believe me, they had a lot more to say, and I think the observation of it all was that I feel like they never had a platform to really come out and talk like they did. You know, they got to be themselves. It wasn't like strict and bound by like Marvel or DC's rules or anything like that. We didn't try to probe them for information. Hell, they were giving us more information than we were asking for.
Yeah.
So I think interviews like that is kind of stuff you got to get to look forward to in the near future. We're also going to bring on some guests here that aren't like celebrities or anything like that, obviously, to deep dive into some things. And we'll mention those, you know, when we get the list going. We'll have that list up and we'll explain what they're recovering. But
yeah, I mean, Frank and I can talk here, obviously, as you've seen for the past 8 episodes, nonstop. Whether there's nothing to go on as we were waiting for Loki to come out, or just the news that's out there in the world. So I think one of the big things coming out of what we did at GCX is we want to definitely try to bring on more people like Declan, like Frank, and others within the entire, you know, universe of comics and superheroes, and not to get into too many spoilers because we want to keep some things, you know, secretive. But yeah, we're definitely working on some things because it was awesome.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if you see any like actors or directors and stuff like that on the show. You know, we're gonna treat them as if they're just the homie on the couch at the end of the day, versus like, you know, freaking out and nerding. Well, we can nerd out, but you know what I mean.
Because we're always get a little bit nerd out because we're fans still at the end of the day, regardless.
Yeah. So we're gonna get right into it pretty fast. I mean, this is a pretty big show. This show might bleed into episode 9, to be honest, especially if you're listening on the podcast.
Yep.
We have a lot to talk about because we technically have 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about. GCX itself kind of took over the last week, which by all means is something you should definitely listen to if you haven't already. But we're gonna get right into this. Is a pretty big week. A lot happened.
Yes.
2 weeks, I should say. A lot happened. First of all, let's start off with Summerfest and GCX. Summerfest and E3 that happened before GCX, I should say.
Yeah.
That was a big week. I had a lot of stuff to do during that week, a lot of stuff to host, and I got to like really put my head into the production side of all this stuff. Summerfest debate, the new E3.
Yeah.
Was Summerfest better than E3? I say yes on all fours. The production was better. The presentation was better, and Jeff won.
Yeah.
Jeffrey won, man. He had Elden Ring in his whole Summerfest, which is the thing that everybody wanted to see. Yeah, but at that point, nobody gave a crap about E3. It was funny enough. People wanted stuff to show at E3. None of that stuff showed at E3. There were some surprises. I think Xbox and Bethesda had the best show because they were the only ones there.
Yeah.
Essentially, there's no Sony. There's no Nintendo. Nintendo did their own direct. Sony's going to be doing their own PlayStation State of the Games and PlayStation shows in Tokyo Live. You know, they're going to be doing their own stuff. That was awesome too. Yeah. So I don't know, man. What do you think? Do you think E3 is kind of done for? Should Jeffrey take over E3? I don't know.
The past 2 years, with everything that has gone on outside of video games, with the world and everything, I personally think it's solidified E3 as no more. Because I think the big piece of E3 was the in-person event, whether it was industry only, like when I first started going, or the latter part of it where it was getting fans in, you know, for like a half a day or a full day or something to test out those games.
Yeah, the weekend.
Yeah, like I mean, the main part of it for us was very much the shows, the Bethesda showcase, EA, all those people being there and starting 3 years ago, Sony backed out, EA backed out, and they started to do their own thing. So it's really catering more towards the Summerfest type of experience. And that also allows, like, even Ubisoft is part of it and EA is part of it, but they could still do their own thing in July, for instance. That's what EA is doing. So I personally think even if E3 came back next year, I think it's done. I think Jeff seems like whatever he does is gold between the Game Awards at the end of the year and now Summer Games Fest. I would love to see him take over and he be the major go-to, whether it's in person or online for like a full week. I feel like that's what it's going to.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey is our age. I think E3 is ran by a bunch of old guys in collars, honestly.
Yeah, the ESA, it's well past there.
It's a bunch of old dudes in collars, you know. And the thing is, Jeffrey is credited back to early days when he ran his little rinky-dink website about gaming, which everybody called that. And now look at him. I mean, I bet
game
those
trailers,
people eat those words. Yeah, he can literally get anybody he wants on that show. Why? Because there's no money. I mean, I'm not gonna say no money involved, but he's not spending E3 money to put on a better production than E3 because everything is digital. You know, a lot of negative stuff came out of this pandemic, but a lot of positive things came out for gaming. During the pandemic. And Jeffrey is, and he's not afraid to say that he's better than E3. He's like, I told you guys. He literally put out a tweet saying, I told you guys.
Yeah.
And you know, Summerfest was short and to the point. I don't think E3 would have been as successful if it wasn't for Twitch and YouTube doing their own thing to cover E3.
Yeah.
Especially Twitch with the streamer friendly stuff.
I heard your piece out. I went into the Twitch gaming directly, and like at the time when you were having a nice speech, I was like, oh, this is fun. Let's go.
Yeah, it was, you know, they things that they could have did better, but I mean, you know, Square Enix, at least they thought about streamers. And put on that, you know, stuff. But as a whole, we're all gamers. We just want an outlet to be able to do stuff. I mean, E3 back in the day was really. I really look forward to E3 because of the battle of the systems at the end of the day. It's like, who's going to bring the best, you know? What company do you go for? You know, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, the big three. Which one is going to win E3? And when Nintendo pulled out and just started doing directs and doing digital, I was like, and then they're saving all their glory for Tokyo Game Show, as they should. Sony was just like, yeah, we're doing the same thing because you're saving money. You're still getting the reception. Oh, we're not coming all the way to E3 to set up these booths and work these hours and overtime everybody and this, that, and the other. And let me tell you, E3 is not that great of an experience if you're going as a watcher or a fan, because you're going to be standing in lines 90% of the time. And you probably won't even get the experience, the game that you're going to experience. And honestly, it's more so a place to go for work. I mean, I worked every E3, you know, that I could in the past 3 to 4 years. And if I didn't do it in person, I did it digitally. And it's just, honestly, I have a better time when I was trying to get into E3, covering it on my channel and doing it with a co-host.
There you go.
We did it with green screens, and we did it just like a news program. We had a news header line at the bottom, and we had the games going across the news header that got announced, live updated by one of our production crews. And you know, I sat on one side, she sat on one side, and
really cool.
And when it came down, we did reactions and stuff. We killed it, man. We had like 500-600 people in the chat just enjoying it, and you know, you get to experience E3 with friends, and I think that's the big point about it. And going out to E3, you're missing out on not only missing out on your live streams, you're missing out on the people that can comment on it. You don't get live reactions. You're possibly getting sick. You're jet lagged when you get back because
convention
you're just tired all the damn time. Parties ain't all that because you can't party with nobody. Hardly anybody you know is there. It's just a bunch of people that work for gaming companies. They look at it as a networking experience, but people that are at the parties for E3, they ain't looking to network with you. They've been doing that all day. They want to just cut loose and drink a couple of drinks and talk junk about each other, you know? So that's the experience of E3. It's just something that you want to do. But hosting E3, I got to live the dream. That literally was a bucket list. I got it multiple years. I'm happy with it, and we're moving on. But anyway.
But it's actually a good. That's actually a really good jumping point when we're talking about E3, because when you talk about E3, there was some pretty big hitters video game wise coming out of 3.3 when you talk about our universe here. Couple of which was shown, and one that we'll get into a little bit of a debate in, right? What wasn't shown. I mean, Marvel had a very good showing. with E3 as far as the content that was shown. There's been a couple of things afterwards.
Yeah, for what they could show,
Yeah. So I mean, as far as what we saw, the two big hitters coming out of it was the big update that is, you know, a month and a half away from now. You got Marvel Avengers, the big Wakanda, the big Black Panther update coming out there. And then this one threw me for a loop. I kind of got the tidbits prior to it, like thinking it's coming, and I'm like, all right, yeah, we'll see it next year sometime, but it blew me out of the water. The big Guardians of the Galaxy game coming over from Square Enix, coming in October. I didn't know about it, but there was leaks coming out on websites saying, hey, Square is working on this game. I was like, all right, cool. But because that's me, I like poking my nose into areas.
That was squeaky clean. I think that was a very squeaky clean release.
Yeah, I mean, not only was it squeaky clean, but then of course, it coming out in October. I mean, the scope that we saw, how polished it is. I mean, this is a game that they must have been working on for at least 3 to 4 years, and it's been, like you said, squeaky clean. I mean, with the first we heard about it, and it's coming out in 4 months from now. That's wild in my opinion.
It's kind of the same thing of Avengers. I mean, I knew about Avengers early on only because I was in the studio. But they had that bad boy like completely cleaned up. Marvel Avengers was a surprise. They took a huge chunk of their segment to show Marvel Avengers. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
And I think it was really well executed. A lot of people talk crap about it, but honestly, let's be real. Guardians of the Galaxy is kooky. I love the RPG gameplay of it. It was really cool. But we gotta talk about the thing at hand. Mother freaking you get to play Star-Lord and all his friends, and the banter is there, and all the glorious goodness is there. I mean, the colors, the music. Obviously they're gonna have a streamer friendly music choice, which is dope.
It's really
so
nice.
You don't lose that feeling. Obviously, just playing it in 4K on your TV though, so you can get the real big thing about it. It's pretty dang crazy. I'm really excited for it. I love the renditions of them. The voices are very well done.
Yes.
The representation is really good. Star-Lord looks great. Drax looks great. They went with the classic Drax, the classic just feel of the whole team.
Gamora has a classic but kind of new school vibe to her as well.
Gamora, 100%. Yep. So everybody looks great. People were complaining about the monsters being a cube here and there. I mean, granted, they show. I mean, look at this. This is not a cube. I was kind of taken away. I was on a panel and we were talking about this, and my friends Maximilian dude and Co-Carnage were with me, but they kind of got stuck on the idea that they were cubes, and I'm like, in the head, I'm just
right here is not cubes
for a living, but like every game that has its environments have their monsters of that environment. I mean, we play MMOs, you're gonna run into the same monster a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. It's kind of like the leveling system, right? You're gonna have the easier monsters, which will be these bloxy looking type of characters, and then you'll have the crazier characters that you're fighting, like the octopus here in a little bit, or the kraken, or whatever it is. Like, you're gonna have levels of difficulty, and I get it. You're watching this and it's a block, but you also don't know when they shot this video, if is it pre-alpha, is it alpha, is it beta, like is it the final engine? Because like right there, like you look at these characters, especially Mantis, that looks beautifully polished. Yeah. And even the characters that are breaking down there, I mean, I'm really excited for this. And yeah, casual, Gamora looks awesome in this, absolutely.
That could have been an introductory level.
Yeah. Literally the first
where
level.
They're introducing how to do, work with the guy. Where they're gonna have the little tutorial pop up while you're playing. Like you can switch to Gamora, or you can not switch to her. You can control Gamora's abilities, and so on and so forth.
I like that though. What is your thoughts on that? Like I like the idea of not leveling up 17 different characters or 4 different characters in Assistant. You're working on one, and they're using them as kind of like secondaries. It's almost like a RPG type of element to it, which is kind of cool.
Kind of Tales. We call it the Tales approach, like Tales of Arise or Tales of whatever, Symphonia and Desperia, all that stuff. They use that the compass system, north, south, east, west, when you choose an ability for a character, it brings it to where like Star-Lord is like the main character of Guardians of the Galaxy, quote unquote, because they're all main characters. But I'm just saying, in this instance, you're playing him, but you still get the feel that you're not alone playing the game. You have like they're AI, but you feel like you're part of a team, and you guys can work together and combo stuff together. I think it's brilliant. How it works out. I love it. The style is there. I'm very excited for it. I'm not hyped for it though. I'm very excited for it. And there's a big difference between that, because if I'm hyped for something, I'm putting Expectation City on it. Since I didn't really care to dig too deep into finding out what Square was doing, I'm very happy they chose Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a big deal. They get to have fun. But the real question is, why Square Enix? Why not Insomniac? Insomniac has the best record of making Marvel games, coming in home with Spider-Man. Why not? Will Insomniac be holding Fantastic Four? We know a Fantastic Four video game is probably more than likely in the works. So who's going to hold that title? Would it be Square Enix? Square Enix are they the licensing partner that you go with? This is not the same team that worked on Avengers as everybody thought it was. Yeah, it's that was a different team that absolutely just they love Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know what
sounds to me?
You know what's interesting about this, since you brought it up? So when you watched everything for Marvel Avengers, that was Crystal, that was Eidos Montreal, that was IO. Like that was pretty much all. For argument's sake, almost all of Square Enix worked on Marvel's Avengers. This is just Eidos. So like it's less hands in the cookie jar, which I think is better.
Eidos is essentially Crystal Dynamics. So it's like interesting to me that we have this happening. And it sounds to me that they had more than one license, because they said we chose to go with what we were big fans of. And that was a big gimme. I was like, so what else do you have under your belt? What else are you going to be making? Because, these people get to do Lara Croft and all this good stuff. So what happened to her? Because she has a movie coming out, and so you guys been working on this project for years. So this one is undone, and the next thing we know, we might hear about new Lara Croft. But Square Enix, we're going to move on to the next one, which is Marvel Avengers. Wakanda looks great. Chris Judge sounds great. I mean, a lot of people call the preview kind of weird, because there was no music, but they were protecting us. I don't care what people say. Thank you, Square Enix, for doing that. Think about us. They could have not showed it, or just not cared, and we got DMCA'd across the board. This is great. We got the Dora Milaje, we got Shuri, we got hopefully T'Challa.
That was an interesting part of that. I love how Wakanda looks, and if you're gonna be really, running through Wakanda in this expansion, that's very exciting to see, because even if it's not just the main level, but scalability up and down, I don't know how far they're going to go. I mean, being able to run through is going to be an absolute blast, just because of the whole overall look and aesthetic of what we saw from it. Not just how he plays and the overall story, especially with Claw here. This looks to be a fun run. And one thing that when we were writing about the show is what or who Black Panther we're gonna get, right? Because what did they say in the trailer at one point?
He's the third. This is the third Black Panther. So you had T'Chaka.
Yep.
I mean, really, it's supposed to be T'Chaka and then T'Challa, and then Shuri. I mean, those are the 1, 2, and 3. Granted, this is based on a whole different universe and all this good stuff, but I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure it's T'Challa. I didn't know if they were throwing an ode to Chadwick Boseman. I mean, Chadwick is anything with Black Panther. Chadwick is brought up 100%.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what it's from or what it is.
We don't know. But the cool thing is like, you don't pay for this. If you bought Avengers, you get this for free, man. People poop all over Avengers, but let's be real. They give you this. This could have been a $40 expansion, $30 expansion very easily.
And this is
still bought it.
And this is their third. Right? And this is their third too. So they've in a year they've brought out 3 expansions.
No, this is their first expansion.
No, well, isn't a DLC.
Well,
because
those
you
were
have
DLCs,
Clint.
but this is an expansion.
This is an
a
expansion. I'm
story
sorry.
arc.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, we actually get a story arc, a new zone to run around in, which they call territories and stuff like that. The production level and the voice acting, mocapping, all that stuff was budgeted in. You won't get the same treatment from Spider-Man because Spider-Man is literally just a character, just
Yep.
thrown in there for fan service, honestly, and it's not even being worked on by the Square Enix team. It's gonna be worked on by Sony. Oh God.
Oh, the
At
pain
least they're not
hearing
touching
that.
Miles.
The pain.
Yet. It's Peter Parker, so I'm not, I'm just like whatever. I'm more excited about this because this was made with love.
Oh yeah.
Well, we hope. I mean, from what I see, it looks like it was made with love. They have to because I'm gonna be honest with you, like Black Panther has grown in so much popularity, in the past 2-3 years, and just because of the movie in general. I've been loving it since the 80s, but still, it's a huge IP, and I think they're gonna do well with it. Look at it; it looks gorgeous. I can't wait. So I hope you guys can't wait as well.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like everything that was bugging the game since the beginning has been fixed. Having this large expansion, what you said. Well, there's always going to be some things, but
we're finding bugs.
Specifically, yeah, we know one of them. Specifically with this in general, I've been wanting to come back to Marvel Avengers for a while. I mean, I was hyped beyond belief, and I played through it. I loved the single player campaign of it when it first came out. I did feel like it was a little repetitive, very much the same thing over and over again, as far as because I was big into Destiny then too, coming off of Destiny. Just all the after when you're done with the storyline, I just thought everything was repetitive. Yeah. So seeing this, how they're bringing out a whole new story, especially something that is massive right now, just with Wakanda and Black Panther itself. I know this was supposed to come out late last year-ish, give or take, but with everything happened, they did the right thing. So I'm excited to jump back in and see how this looks, and more importantly, I think see how it feels and plays, because everything I'm seeing, I'm like Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm very excited to dive into it. I don't know if I'm hyped, like you said. It's actually I like how you bring up the two different levels there. I am very excited for it to see how it plays, what the story arc is, because this is our lifeblood, all this comic stuff. So I'm with you, and it's coming out in August, if I remember correctly, right?
We have a date. There's a timeline. Cosmic Cube event dropped.
That's right now, right?
Yeah, it had a little stumble. They made a mistake. Believe me, we got on them about it. Like I said, they bring in certain streamers. We have like a VIP group that talks to and really, really converse with them. And I gotta be very careful what I say about things.
Of course.
But they had issues, and it wasn't really a good look. And they need wins. They don't need any more not good looks. So we're jumping all on board of that and jumping all over them about it, and really, really, really trying to help them get where they want. But they're super excited about Wakanda, and we're lucky to see it in August. We're actually lucky to see it in August. And honestly, I'm glad they didn't wait till October, because that would have been a bad call.
Too many things coming out in October,
anything or September, because September, October, November, December, pretty much the rest of the year after is September, or during September and after. Even July is a huge month, but August is probably clean right now. But September through the end of the year is going to be absolutely just dropping stuff left and right. And we still haven't heard from Nintendo with their goals or what they're going to be doing heavily. We still got Tokyo Game Show to worry about. And if that's happening, I mean, it might be digital. So I'm thinking State of Plays is coming up. Square Enix also has Forspoken, the game that everybody's looking forward to. They didn't show at all. That's.
I think one of the big highlights that we didn't talk about was the games that weren't shown at E3.
Yeah.
I mean, there was Ubisoft. There was a bunch of games that they could have shown or hinted about that they didn't talk about. I mean, we got Avatar, but I'm done with the whole Avatar. I'm kind of over it. Some people are absolutely in love with it. I'm kind of over it. Obviously, we really didn't get anything from Sony because they've been doing everything prior. We did get the big Horizon Forbidden West info before, but I think one of the big stories coming out of E3 was the things, or Summer Game Fest as well, were kind of the things that weren't shown. And speaking specifically in our realm, I was actually really disappointed in DC and Warner Brothers not showing anything either Gotham Knights related or Rocksteady Kill the Justice League related, because I know they said that they pushed it back. Gotham Knights, it was originally supposed to come out later part of this year. They said, hey, we're working on development we're pushing it out until sometime in 2022. And Rocksteady Kill the Justice League is still set up for sometime in 2022 too. 2022 too. It's a whole lot of twos. I thought that this would have been a perfect opportunity for them to show a little bit more, saying, hey, we're still on pace for 2022, or just in general, hey, here's an update of what we've been working on, instead of what I am assuming is going to be October and their DC fandom, which, though it is DC and it is part of their audience, I believe their more target of an audience is today, and it once again is overshadowed by everything Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel has more teams working on stuff. That's
True.
number one.
True.
Number two, Marvel is in the eye of the beholder more because of the movies, the shows. I mean, Marvel's just knocking home runs left and right. I think I'm going to debate it against you and just say I think it's smart that they didn't show anything. The biggest problem we have with a lot of video games lately is marketing. If you market something too much and you don't have a date or anything, no solid like gameplay, nobody gives a crap about all these pretty little cutscenes that we're seeing left and right. It's nice to have a little teaser, but if you don't have any substance, then people just don't give a crap. They got heat for showing Suicide Squad. They got a lot of heat for it because it was like, oh, here's a game, when it's coming out, what kind of game is it? No info. 2022. We're just like, okay, you could have like waited to show this. Like we're not hurting for a DC game right now because DC is just not having his best. It's not having his best right now. To be honest, so I personally don't think it was it wouldn't have been a good call. I mean, if they show it during a DC event, that's good. I think that'd be okay. At least have the cast come out and talk. I'm thinking maybe Comic-Con. They'll probably show more
month,
stuff.
Yeah.
Because Comic-Con is the place where you do it if you're gonna do it.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Guardians of the Galaxy will be there. The cast will be there probably with the voiceovers and stuff. Avengers will probably more than likely be there with Chris Judge. And that's a good place for DC to just come out and say, hey guys, I know we've been quiet and behind the scenes, but we've been working really hard on this, that, and the other to bring you the best stuff that we can. And I think that's a good message, and I think it'll be great. But if they show gameplay and they throw us for a loop and say, oh, 2023, man, put a can on it. I honestly, all hype is going to be gone. When it comes out, I'll be like, yeah, I'll play it. At the end of the day,
what?
But,
I mean, I definitely hear you on that one. Because I think so. The last when we were first shown this, because we have it up on the screen here for those watching on Twitch right now. It was December. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure it was December was the first DC fandom, and it's
on the Game Awards, I believe, isn't it?
It was like right before the Game Awards. They didn't show anything at the Game Awards, but they showed it at their first DC fandom, which I believe was in December. And I mean, everything that they showed here was beautiful. It was polished. The story with the Court of Owls at the end, and then I think sometime in April they said, "Hey," or March, "Hey, we're delaying it." I guess I think I'm more of a fan service thing here because I didn't even think about how you brought up Rocksteady. I felt like Rocksteady need to say something because the last time anything we've heard of Rocksteady was back in Gotham Knight, which was 2018
also,
or 17 or 16.
Hirings and firings that
yeah. Well,
they probably need more people to work on it.
I guess with me, I know Warner Brothers Montreal. I could say this. I know Warner Brothers Montreal since Batman Arkham Origins, which came out in Batman Arkham Origins came out in 2013. Oof. 7, 8. They're going to be going on 9 years, theoretically. They've been, since Batman Arkham Origins came out, they've been working on a video game. It's going to be 9 years before they release something. You know how much turn and burn that is for a studio? I mean that's a lot. So
you have to think about it like this. If there's no money coming to the studio, nobody's getting raises.
True.
During those dark periods, you don't get anything from that stuff. It's just, those are the dark ages of being in the video game industry. You work for the studio, you get steady pay and stuff, but you're not really, the company can't really do that much without getting a boost because video games cost millions of dollars to make, and you got to pay actors to do mocap. Obviously that stuff was mocapped. There's no way in the world they just randomly did some stuff based off the movement and stuff. Whoever coming in voice acting wise, granted, voice actors don't really make that much money for video games, but if you're mocapping, you're getting actor bonuses, and the budget is like a movie budget. So it's interesting, but I think letting things. I think the big lesson of this year is let things cook.
Yeah,
Um,
I think you're right.
and don't talk about it too much. Don't spend too much money marketing. Don't spend too much money on people to market it for you. Just let it cook. Do the best you can. And keep everybody safe. Uh, secure jobs and have security of, hey guys, no matter what, we're gonna work on this together and keep everybody's morale up, and then you'll get a good video game. I think it's there's a lot going on right now because you would think that the pandemic would slow down video game, but nah, it's speeding it
Oh,
up because
yeah.
October is such a huge month. We only have 4 weeks in October, and we have more games than we can even handle.
There's a lot more than 4 games. Yep.
I mean, it was interesting to see what is called the vampire game, Redfall. I think it's called Redfall,
Yes, Redfall. That was that ended a Bethesda Microsoft showcase.
and that's coming out this year.
Did they? I
So,
thought it said 2022.
oh, did it?
Yeah, at the end
Maybe
it
I'm
said
getting confused. I thought it said October. I could be confused. Um, but I mean, that's based off the Vampire Masquerade world, which got a lot of heat because that team kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
That IP is floating in limbo right now. I think somebody's gonna pick it up. We have Swan Song coming out and everything. But anyway, moving past that, we're gonna keep it in the comic book world. Got a lot to look forward to, honestly. I just don't get excited anymore. Just because I'm not allowed to, according to social media. Social media eats you alive if you get excited about anything. I mean, granted, I'm the big I don't care F you kind of type guy. I just don't get super excited anymore because I rather have the organic experience of playing the game. I'm not gonna deep dive into trying to find leaks or nothing like that on it to bring to you guys because at the end of the day, first impressions of these things are the best.
Yep.
Just being a super fan of stuff is the best. Same thing with Dark Alliance. A lot of people are pooping over Dark Alliance. I'm a big D&D fanboy. It's following the comics and the books, and I'm having fun with it. With all three of my friends playing it, everyone else poops on it. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched you play it, and I mean, I'm not big into Dungeons and Dragons, but looking at the game, looking at the fidelity of it, the gameplay, especially when you're playing with other people, I feel like that's a game you kind of want to be playing with other people.
Well, I mean,
I think it's really fun.
A co-op game.
There you go. I mean, I think the game looks fantastic. So if people are hating on it, I think it's just once again the mob hate mentality. But
it's that review bomb culture that's big. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about coming up.
We've already talked about a lot. We got even more, like you said, Loki.
Yeah. Loki episodes 2 and 3.
So yeah, we're gonna start with
number 2.
Episode 2. There may be some bleeding here, chat, but we are gonna start with episode 2 and see what we get through for episode 3 as well. But episode 2, Frank. Woo!
That was good. Man, Loki just keeps getting better and better week after week. I found the writer. And she wrote. We just weeks ago. Okay, no, actually last week she just wrote. We just finished the final episode for the season.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, excuse me. So this wasn't in the making? Like, the guy is filming?
How is all this possible?
Ever since last week? What? That's nutty. That's unheard of because normally these projects are done months in advance.
Yeah.
And they just go through a marketing phase. She just finished writing the episode at her parents' house.
That's wild.
She was like, I just finished my favorite table at my parents' house, finishing the final episode of this season.
And it's not even like it's like a 20 episodes. We're already halfway through the season and there's only 3 episodes left. After this past week, it's also sad because there's only 3 episodes left, but that just makes the story even more incredible.
I don't think so. I don't know about that being sad because
I don't want it to end. It's so good.
Loki, yeah, I understand that. Loki has been the starting point, as we said multiple times before, for the Avengers. Yeah. And now he's the starting point again for the new arc. And man, you have to be happy as the actor of Loki to know that you're so well received. People love him.
Tom. Yep.
He's great. He's just a great individual, and he does such a good job acting. Oh my god, he blew me away in episode 3. But anyway, episode 2. So episode 2 starts off with Loki and Mobius, and they're just going through the Jar Jar. At the end of the day, and there is an event that happens early on at a medieval festival somewhere. Like I said, I don't want to go into too many details so you see it. And they got a alert, and they show up, as in the variant police, so to speak, show up, and essentially was a trap.
Yep.
Essentially was a trap, and they got back. Loki and Mobius and their variant team show up to investigate, and Loki stalls and tries this little gimmick of playing on Mobius's heartstring, because Mobius is like believes in him and all this stuff, and he tries to snake his way out, and all he cares about is getting in front of the timekeepers. But Mobius saw through his plot,
which was great.
Yeah, but not only did Mobius see through the plot, Ravonna does. So there was a little conversation between those two in the office, and this is where we're going to really start breaking down, because what I noticed is that Mobius and Ravonna's relationship seems a little bit deeper than higher up and lower down. There was, pay attention to the circle on the table from the cup. That you have to put a cup down, a hot cup at that, multiple times. And hot cups are normally, it's funny when I say hot cup, I'm talking about coffee, tea, normally made for meetings where the news ain't too good.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of not so good news between those two. And she makes it quite apparent where she's like, I keep giving you chances. I'm pulling the project.
Yeah.
And I got you. And, he argues his way back. But the thing, Matt, that I'm a little confused about is Mobius, the way Mobius was talking to her, that's not how you talk to a higher up, man.
Yeah. That's
how you talk to a work colleague that you're on the same level and or past relationship, or somebody you grew up with. Oh man, I almost forgot about this. Very interesting thing. We'll come revisit that. Chat, remind me. We'll revisit that in episode 3. It's very, very tiny little tidbit, important information that you could miss if you don't listen to the episode. And I'll hold on to that. And Matt, just remind me of it. It has to do
a little
with
tidbit, Ravonna and grow up together. Okay.
Yeah. Very, very important.
Yeah. The relationship, I thought from the first episode, was very much going to be the hierarchy. She's here, everyone else is down there. Like, the way I saw it was Ravonna was like a hair under the space lizards, and after their discussion while they were in her office with him trying to get her on board with the whole idea of Loki coming out and being part of his squad going after the other variant Loki, it seemed like it was more than just that. They were either, I mean, we know that Ravonna in the comic books is in a big relationship story arc with Krang, but it seems like she's doing something with him, or he used to be a higher up because of the as you said, the stain or the wear in of the cups on the table, and she said that it was always him. You've done this plenty of times before, that's why we have coasters. But one of the big things was, I don't remember the exact line, but he goes, yeah, I wish I could keep all the stuff from my hunts. He goes, I remember that snow globe, kind of like hinting at the things in there were his victories, not necessarily hers. So like you said, or both, exactly, or both, because they could have been colleagues at one point, both as just TVA hunters or associates or whatever it is. I feel like something definitely has skewed between them or changed between them recently or semi-recently, and their levels have flip-flopped or something, because, or lovers or whatever it is, because it definitely seems like something's more there. But what were you going to say about growing up?
I bring it up in episode 3 because
yes, we're talking Loki theories casual.
So Loki discovers they talked and he got Loki one more chance, so to speak.
Yes.
Because they were going to erase him if not. I think that was a bluff. I think it was more of a, like, you better get your shit together because I can't keep arguing for you, because the timekeepers will just be like, whatever, and just erase this whole timeline, so to speak, whatever. Yep. So Loki and Mobius relationship is very interesting. It's kind of Loki thinking he's teaching Mobius something, but Mobius is ultimately teaching Loki something, because Mobius's ultimate goal is to change Loki's outlook on things so Loki gets another chance at life, I feel. that's the whole thing. You could possibly get in front of the timekeepers. You never know what might happen, type thing. And leaving it open ended and letting Loki kind of like his mind go in mischief and think, I might be able to do this or I might be able to do that,
He's very Mobius very much knows what a Loki is about, coming out of that first episode where he's sitting down playing with the cosmic cube and he goes and he finally gets into him and Loki opens up for that brief moment to Mobius. Mobius has obviously been hunting not just this Loki, but probably other Lokis for such a long time that he knows so much about them that he knows how to play them. As you were saying, he knows that as soon as he catches this Loki, after everything that's happening, he's going to want to talk to the head honchos. So he uses that card in front of him, knowing that probably it's never going to happen. Or maybe it is. I don't know.
That's interesting. After this episode, I think it's leading up to Owen Wilson. Mobius is another Loki. I don't know. I mean, that's very interesting. I think it's a little far-fetched, but I mean, it's definitely not off the table. I mean, we don't know.
There's some things with episode 3 we'll talk about, which are actually an interesting point to it, because we're still on episode 2 since we didn't have a chance to talk about it last week.
So pretty much Loki got one more chance. He told Loki to just find some work. I'm getting away from you, getting on my nerves. I'm gonna go eat my lunch and go do my thing. You do your thing. And Loki, looking through a bunch of records and stuff, finds out that she Loki, if you want to call her, is hiding in catastrophes because you can't really, the timeline doesn't really get involved with that stuff because it happens, everything is destroyed, but she found a way to loop it and constantly just lives in the same one. I say live essentially, but hide in the same one.
Yes, hide.
Right.
I like that.
Interesting enough, it looked like Loki is not dumb, and by all means, she Loki is not dumb either. And there's a reason why I'm not saying her name at the moment. So they end up going to that, what's it called, Rox's?
Rox card, I believe it's called. Rox card. Yep.
Card. Yeah. And no, I think so. I know you said 2077 has to do with the next episode.
Yes,
I think it was like 2052 or something like that.
Yeah, I made a mistake. The 2077 was the laminate.
Yeah, it's all good. I think it's like 2052 or 2050 or whatever. That was all. I honestly believe that she Loki or female Loki wanted him to find her. And it's almost like she was just waiting for them. She was, because it was a time where she wasn't doing anything. She was just sitting, chilling in a room with cameras and just like waiting for them to show up, and planted the girl that she took from the variant police. She kidnapped somebody. You'll see
from
that
earlier.
Scene, and probed her of information. And there's something very interesting. We'll go back to that, and the reason why I'm just touching on it, we'll go back to it for episode 3. Because it has more so to do with episode 3 than it did episode 2.
Yes.
And just waiting for Loki. Just waiting for him to get alone, because I don't think she really gives a crap about him joining her. She just kind of want him to stay out of her way at the end of the day.
She clearly has something. Yeah. She clearly has it in for the TVA at this point in episode 2. There's something going on. There's obviously a big story arc as far as what she's doing or why she's trying to do it that we don't know about yet. And she's strategically going around and being the god of mischief, but also the extremely smart god as well, going around and strategically grabbing things when she needs to. And the whole plot of her hiding within the Nexus events, the whole place within a timeline where it doesn't matter what you're doing minutes before or seconds before or hiding, as you say, because like that, everything's gonna go down. There's nothing that you could do to change that part of history. Like when he was in Pompeii speaking Italian to them and throwing up and saying what he is and what he's doing was hilarious. And like that's when it's like, okay, you're right here.
I think we hit another. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
okay,
just
cool.
a blip, a Thanos blip. That was cool. And when they get into Rock's cart, and you see what her power really is, and him taking back by it a little bit because it's different. You've never seen Loki actually do that before per se without the Tesseract, the stick. It was fun to see how as much as they are the same Loki, they are very different as well. And the whole
you bring up
Hunter,
that point.
yeah, and the whole Hunter C20 part is really really interesting. And then obviously at the end of the episode, she bombs. I guess you could say the.
Well, actually, I mean, she not only does she bomb, she lets go every reset at the same time to create multiple nexuses and then
Madness.
breach the timeline to throw everybody off for her ultimate conquest to getting into the TVA, making all the police go out of the TVA, so she has a clear shot at whatever she wants to do, a clear shot at the timekeepers. I believe there's a lot of dirty going on at the TVA. Nothing in Marvel Universe is squeaky clean. They probably screwed with the wrong Loki at the end of the day, and I think that's pretty much the message. She's not the real ultimate bad here. You know, she's probably trying to prevent something from happening that she knows about. God, there was something you said I wanted to talk about.
Well, what we talked about before was leading into episode 3, growing up Ravonna and Owen Wilson. It was
episode 2. There's something you said I wanted to kind of harp on. Dang it, it was pretty important.
Just when I was.
I know what it is. So a little Easter egg during the debriefing. Me and Matt kind of brought it up. We were going through different Lokis. They showed different Lokis, and they were following the pictures that we showed you guys. Kind of funny, huh? They showed all the different types of Lokis. Like there was the King Loki there. There was the more Pharaoh Loki.
Yep.
One that the ice giant Loki, and like all of them.
There's one that kind of looked like a Hulk.
Yeah, all these guys, and they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing. But this one right here, you know, this one is a little different. So, it was pretty interesting that they showed that stuff. But yeah, that pretty much was episode 2, and you see Loki go into a portal to follow after female Loki, and Mobius was just. I don't know if Mobius knew. I feel like Mobius knew that was going to happen. I honestly think the way that Loki looked back at Mobius. Looked at the portal, look back at Mobius, look at the portal, jump in the portal. I think that was more of Mobius saying, no, don't do this on your own, than no, Loki, don't run away from us.
Yeah.
I really, Mobius made a very interesting thing saying, I know about you more than you know about yourself.
Yes.
Because he has studied Loki for a long time. And why Loki like this? You know what I mean? So with that, that goes in episode 3, and I kind of I'm a theory craft on that small aspect. So opening episode 3, we have female Loki talking to the agent that she pulled, and many people probably ask themselves, why is that scene important in the beginning? And I think a lot of people just don't care about it. They're kind of like, okay, it's her manipulating her to get information out of her. Well, it goes deeper in than that.
Yep. And
it was very brief that it was mentioned. And I'm going to kind of jump the gun here because this is really important. And this is kind of why I say there's dirty going on with the TVA, is that these people are all variants that work for the TVA. Uh-oh.
Internet is bugging out today. And nope, wait for it. Why is my upload speed like this today?
Okay, we're back.
All right. Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. Okay, hold on, let me unpause, pause. All right. Oh.
No, we're not. Damn it. Just looking at I'm actually looking at my upload speed just fluctuating all over the place.
It's coming in. And
it should be good now. Yep. Sorry.
All right. Sorry
should be good now.
Guys. Technology stuff happens. Where was I going with this? Okay, we were opening up episode 3 with her talking to the agent that she pulled. And they were at dinner and they kind of switched scenes. Well, that's really interesting that she's pulling information out of there. Because these agents are kind of trained and their memories are kind of wiped. But she said that it's harder to get some memories from people, and I'm kind of jumping around. She was explaining this to Loki, how her powers work, because some people you have to jump hundreds and hundreds of years to pull memories back. Hundreds of years is interesting. And she said, I have to go back to their childhood or go back to like a moment in time where they were enjoying themselves, blah, blah, blah. And Loki was like, but these are agents. What do you mean hundreds of years? She's like, well, they're all variants. And he's like, that means that he said Mobius told us, or not Mobius, but he said the TVA said that they were created by the timekeepers. But no. Apparently these people are all variants that veered off the path of the timeline and essentially kidnapped, brainwashed, if you really want to say, and turned into agents.
That was the absolute big what the moment
Yeah, that's the big plot twist.
of the episode of the series as of right now. The plot twist. It definitely leads into more nefarious things, as you said, happening with the TVA. It's not squeaky clean. Nothing in Marvel is squeaky clean. And you know, when you were, this even lets you bleed back into the beginning of the first episode, if you really want to go back that far and think about it, is, you know, if they're being that nefarious, what does that mean for other timelines? Is that just a lie to kind of make these people think that are coming in after the brainwash that they are there? I actually think there is still a multiverse out there, and that's where Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man are going to come in. I think that the space lizards, the head honchos, didn't wipe out the other timelines, and they're using them to their needs for the TVA. That's a whole nother crafting theory out there, but yeah, I mean, that's the big what the heck moment. That changes everything. Now you understand the impact of the beginning of the episode, why she was saying Hunter C20, I think it was, it's real, because for her it was real. She was a Nexus variant, and she didn't know that until Lady Loki, which I won't say her name yet, unlocked for her, essentially. And of course, knowing this now, that changes so much in an awesome way.
Yeah, and the good news is that Loki is finding. I think that Loki's enjoying being a TVA agent right now, because he's starting to like find. He's really finding himself through these episodes. We're seeing a lot of growth happen with Loki, and a lot of understanding happen with Loki. And what better way to understand yourself is by talking to yourself, essentially, and figuring out these tidbits. And the time that he spent with Lady Loki, or if you want to call her, I mean, she announced her name is what, Sylvie?
Yeah, at one point in the episode, she actually starts saying that at the beginning of the episode, don't call me Loki. Don't call me Loki. And then she finally gets out, I go by Sylvie now. Because she just hates being called, being a Loki, essentially, at this point.
Yeah. But again, interesting thought about him being a Loki. I honestly, I'm treading on more of no. I just think that Loki has just been a problem. You know, and Loki is one of the best when it comes to mischief and screwing things up and you know, getting what they want. I don't know, but we'll see. It'd be very interesting if that's true or not.
I mean, one of the I just thought about this. It actually makes Loki the true, as of right now, coming out of episode 3, even Sylvie to some aspect, the true hero of the episode, which Loki necessarily has never been. He's always been the bad guy or the in-between. You don't really know which way he's going. I mean, right now, if the TVA coming out of episode 3 is what we think it is, it being the big bad, they need to change everything, they've been lying, they've been killing all these people for no need, him and Sylvie actually become real, true heroes, and something that I think Loki's always wanted to be, too.
I have another blippity blop.
This is going to keep on happening, unfortunately, I think.
Okay, we always got episode 9 to bleed into this.
Yeah. This is really bad today. I don't know if it's... There we go. We're back.
Okay. Yeah. I think Loki is more misunderstood than quote unquote evil.
Okay.
And I believe Mobius is trying to pull him away from the idea that he is evil and trying to teach him a lesson, and just showing that he's just very misunderstood. He just wanted to be loved. I mean, at the end of the day, that was the key word of the episode. Episode 3 was love. Loki just wanted to be loved. He was loved. I think all Lokis are looking for that. That's the ultimate kingdom or queendom, is to dominate the idea of love, because that's something that Loki can't attain with brute force.
Yeah.
Or with mischief. It's too much of a pure feeling that he just doesn't understand. And she asks him, what is love? Because she doesn't understand it. She doesn't know. there was this really heart-touching scene of them in the train, and we're gonna jump all over. It doesn't really matter because you need to watch 3 anyway. Where they're talking and they're kind of getting to know each other, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And she brought up his mother, and whenever you talk about Loki's mother, it literally pauses him.
Yes.
It's a weakness and or a strength, and that's the only person that really truly loved him. He feels, who never gave up on him, believed in him, taught him his magic. Because it's quite interesting. He's interested in her magic. She's really interested in his magic.
Yeah.
Also, it's very, very important to know that her magic was limited, but his isn't.
It's weird. They're both limited in ways. They just don't. They're seeing different sides of themselves because
No. I'm talking about when the TVA stuff.
Oh,
it was very interesting when she tried to do something. She had a spark.
Oh yeah, he had nothing. You're right.
He had full powers. That wasn't addressed. It was just there.
That is
and
very
people
true.
It's a very important part, and I think we're gonna figure out by the end of the season why that's a thing. She noticed it. She was like, "What the heck?" But she's better at martial capabilities. She's also, obviously she's a better fighter.
She's a very good fighter. Yeah.
And it was very interesting to see that. Very interesting to see that. But anyway, yeah, they were sharing and talk about the mother and how she showed them how to do stuff, and you can tell that the real weakness of her is love. And she's trying to still understand it and trying to see where Loki, if Loki's felt it, but Loki doesn't know how to put it into words. But I think he notices that's how he got her. He's trying to show her that she needs to enjoy her time, because Loki's all about mischief. To Loki is he's a child trapped in an adult body.
Yeah.
And it's about having fun at the moment and doing things for himself, and just pretty much he's a big baby at the end of the day. What do children do? They throw a tantrum when they can't have what they think is theirs or what they want. And
which
really what Loki is doing.
And the Loki that we know now is still midst of I want the throne of Asgard. It's not the Loki at the end. It's the Loki at the end of Avengers, not the Loki that we've come to see at the end of or beginning of Infinity Wars. Excuse me.
I think that I even think that's changed. I think now he just wants to save his mother and right wrongs. At this point, I don't even think he gives a crap about dying. I think he was more taken back, because at first I was like, oh, he's really scared about dying. He wants to change everything so that doesn't happen to him. But no, I think it's more of like, I screwed up. I killed my mother, the one person that loved me.
Yeah, like Moby says, like, you told her to go left, not right, and you made her die. Right. Like, that was insane. Yeah,
I want to right wrongs, and if it ends with me dying, at least I'm at peace knowing that I corrected one of my mistakes. You know, it almost feels that way. And now he's starting to see that Thor wasn't as bad as a brother, and he's starting to realize a lot of stuff. Yes. Odin, even though he was a poop father, but he was a poop father to both of them. But
he was a worse father for the other one. Yeah,
his son.
Yep,
he truly loved him, and that goes back to that movie. What was it?
Dark World or Ragnarok? Well, Dark World was the elves, and Ragnarok was the one where he died.
Yeah, I think it was Dark World, where you know, Odin did everything. He could have left that baby there.
Oh, yep.
You know, and I think that's very quite apparent, and he's noticing based off of Sylvie that, I'm loved.
Yeah.
You know, and I just can't explain it. But at the end of the day, it's just all a trick. You know, it's this another mischief made by Loki to trap the other Loki. I think it was started off as that, but now he's really interested in her, and she's really interested in him.
Yep.
And he never met somebody that was quite like him.
Yeah.
And this is very, very touching, you know?
Yeah, it's
there's so many Easter eggs though.
It's very much they're very much similar, but also very different because of their mother. That whole mother aspect of him actually growing up with her and going on to, you know, adulthood with her, allowed him to have that human side, that compassionate side that we see every once in a while from where compared to this Loki or Sylvie, she never had that, and that's what led her to change her name from Loki and to really get rid of herself and change herself and move herself away from Asgard because of how horrible her father was and presumably her Thor, whatever version of that Thor is. So having that commonality, but also big differentiator between them is is quite wild. And I think that's what makes our Loki cautiously optimistic of her, is seeing how, even like briefly, how their conversation has changed. But it's been a wild ride these past couple of episodes, especially this one. There's just been so much given, and that whole train scene, even the even to step forward a little bit, when when she's trying to grab his mind, that was quite interesting too. There was a whole lot going on there.
Yeah. The true mastermind of this whole game is, I think, our Loki. I think he's the one that's got the bigger plans in the end.
Mm-hmm.
It goes with the drinking and having fun aspect, was to show Sylvie that she needs to start partaking in the moment.
Yeah.
And enjoying herself. That's what makes them different. She's always serious. They're polar opposites while being the same.
Yeah.
She's always serious to the point, want to get this mission done. This is a mission. How can you veer away from the mission? Loki's like, you need to enjoy the moments. He showed her fireworks. Because those fireworks was like something that his mom said, Loki, sometimes you need to slow down and enjoy magic. Enjoy the whole, feeling that it brings you. And the whole scene where he was just laughing and drinking and have everybody around, enjoying space around them, while being noticed by somebody. Granted, I think he was trying to be noticed. He was in his TVA outfit and he was just bouncing around because, again, it goes back to episode 2, where it doesn't matter what the hell you do. When the Nexus event happens, it's going to happen anyway. So, it doesn't really matter. And I think that's kind of like an ode back to episode 2. Guards got alerted by one person. They have to see their tickets or whatever. And then a big fight scene happens. Loki got thrown out of the window.
Yeah.
And Sylvie
which was
followed,
pretty funny.
and he broke the device that lets them travel.
Yep.
So, well, I don't want to say he broke it, but they kind of landed on top of it. I believe he did short circuit it.
You think this isn't you don't think this is a left-hand, right-hand trick? You think this is actually broken?
Also, it could be an illusion.
Yeah,
it could also be illusion, for all we know.
Because
Loki can do that.
At some point they're gonna get off. They're gonna get out of this. I mean, I believe so.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I think the time variance is gonna show up.
Okay, you think they're gonna show up? You think they're gonna find him?
I think the variant police is gonna show up. Mobius will show up, and then it'd be interesting to see a little sit down between all three of them. I wonder if that's gonna happen.
Because they're gonna want to get out. They're not gonna not get out. She's probably gonna feel
betrayed by Loki, and all hell might break loose for a little while. I think that might be a thing. It can be a case. Because I mean, they're trusting each other now, and the trust was a big thing that kept popping up in the episode. They have no choice but to trust each other now. I just thought 2077 was hilarious, and I thought it was hilarious that it looked very, very cyberpunk.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I think that was an ode to cyberpunk. Honestly, I think the people that scene love cyberpunk. Because it was just hilarious.
Did you talk about what you wanted?
Destruction of cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Did you talk about what you wanted to talk about before with growing up and everything? When I was talking about it earlier, you said you wanted to grab something and talk about it later.
It was the fact that
the
time variants don't know that they're being pulled from different timelines.
And they are variants, yeah.
Yeah, and Mobius brought up the jet ski thing over and over again. Jet skis, man, it's just something about them.
Yeah, you know why, you think?
Yeah, I mean, he probably got stripped out of his timeline. I mean, he probably was a variant that went off, and they just scooped him up, and he's been there forever, or at least thought to been there forever. They probably wiped his mind. I mean, time is not even of the essence where they are. They're in an area where time variants control everything.
When you actually speak of 2770 again, I did some digging afterwards, and apparently, the Lemnance 1 or Lamnant 1, whatever the planet they were on, was actually, now I don't know if this is going in crazy, but this goes back to what you've always said. They always put something into Marvel for a reason. And not necessarily 2077, but the planet they were on, Lemnance 1, was actually an actual planet in the Kree system. That's why when they're running through the city to try to get to the spaceship, there was a lot of Kree aesthetics on the walls and writing. But on top of it too, the exact planet is actually part of, for us comic book fans, part of the Annihilation Conquest timeline and arc. So does this mean Annihilation is coming to the Marvel timeline that we're dealing with now? Is it going to be an offshoot with the series? Could it be a big Marvel phase plan? But it's cool that they put specific things in there potentially for us to geek out about or to set something up in the future, because it's not just a random planet. It's actually a planet that means something in the overall Marvel, not just cinematic universe, Marvel universe period.
Yep. So, I think this is all a ploy to get her back at the TVA, or maybe he wants to spend more time with her or whatever to figure out things. But I think it's all a game to Loki about who's the most superior. At least it started off as that, and it's still probably there, because they go back and forth again about being superior. They're both children at the end of the day. And what was I going with this?
It's like two brothers bickering, or brother and sister bickering in this instance.
Yeah, they brought up, and like I said, the thing about love. So they finally brought up his sexuality, which is he's bisexual. I don't know how I feel about it, and it's not because he's bisexual. I just don't know how to feel about how they did it. It's kind of like, prince or princesses. Well, there are many. Blah blah blah. It's like, all right, it's a subtle thing about him being bisexual, and then they just kind of dropped it. You don't just drop like.
Well, it was in the process of them talking about love and getting to it. So I like.
Well, here's the thing. To us, it doesn't matter as much because we don't understand that lifestyle, I guess, or at least I don't understand that lifestyle. I don't know about you, but I read a lot of people's take on it.
Really?
A lot of people that are bisexual and that are LGBTQA+, and they were just like, thanks for making Loki this way, but that's it? We're not gonna bring up anything else with it and stuff like that. So it's just kind of like, at that point, you're trying to ask yourself, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't big, they wouldn't have mentioned it, because it really doesn't matter what sexual preference you are. That doesn't make your character. So why bring it up if you're not going to really expand on it? They should have showed up. They could have shown like him deep in thought or something, and like really, really let that sink in. And what does that have to do with the show? Why was his love interest even brought up? Because if we were talking love, we were really talking about his mom.
Yeah.
Why did she bring that up? Is it because she was in love with someone and TVA did something? I don't know. So maybe it leads on to something bigger, but it was just kind of, it's kind of like it was like quickly done. Like you said, it was just kind of like a
throwaway line, and then quickly it was done. Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. Because it leads a lot of us saying, well, that was strange. Like, you brought that up for what reason? Is it really that important that his sexual preference that important?
Well, they've done this twice now. Yeah, I was just about to say they've done that twice now. The brief gender fluid, and now the sexuality being quick, for lack of a better term I can think of, quick one-liners. I guess I didn't see it because the people that you've read from or spoken to, or however you dove into it after the fact, had some thoughts into it. I was just looking at it as a, how do I want to say this? I was just looking at it as a moving forward of character device, but did seem like as a throwaway line where they could have gone bigger into it, especially when they're talking about love. So, like you said, I don't know how to necessarily feel towards it, but I get it. But I can see now the way others may feel differently about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm just like, all right, not saying that your preference is not important, but it wasn't important to the current events that were happening.
Yeah.
And there was so much already to go off of love when it came to his mom and what she probably didn't experience. And then the fact that she was at dinner with that other variant to probe her. As best friends, so to speak.
Yes.
But the way she was acting, you knew she had a side to her that did experience something similar to that. So it was kind of like all these callbacks that I was trying to form in my head. Like, why was this such a big deal? But why was it done so secretively? Really, I mean, they just kind of like, you know, if you, I don't know, sneezed, you would have missed that.
Yeah.
So it was just very interesting to me. And nothing to where people are just like, you know, I can't believe they did this. It's more like, all right, but give us more.
Give us
like,
more, yeah.
What's happening here? You know, like, so it's kind of like, yeah, I was kind of interested. I'm like, who was he in love with? He was deep in thought, dude.
He definitely had a
When
pause
she said
again.
princess or princess,
Yeah.
he like took a drink. When you have to take a drink about something, there's like,
yeah,
man,
something's
time,
there.
you know, and it's just like, so I'm like, okay, give me more. Like, what are we talking about here? Is this somebody we're going to see in the future? Nothing there. Nothing. Was it the Hulk he's thinking about?
Has Loki in the comic books? I can't think. Has he had like a major love story arc with anybody?
I think so. I think. Well, I don't know about major, but I think. I mean, I think it's quite apparent that he's had both men and women.
Yeah.
But that's going back to Asgard in general, and the thought of gods such as, you know, what in every folklore, they don't have preferences.
Yeah. That's going back to the full Nordic.
Gods.
Yeah.
You know, and then you know, granted he's not a Greek god, but I'm just saying in general, they, especially them, they just don't have preferences because they see, you know, a lover as a lover. It's not male or female. So I don't know. I thought it was very interesting. That was very interesting that they had it. Was this all a trick? There was a lot of evidence.
But on whose part? But go ahead.
Yeah, more so on Loki's part. Our Loki, I should say, our bro Loki versus, you know, a lady Loki, because there was a lot of blank spots. The drinking, she wouldn't drink. She fell asleep. He didn't.
Yeah.
The singing and bringing attention to that they're being there. Him not going through with what she wanted. He clearly created that diversion to get them off track with that.
They would have never been thrown off by humans on a ship.
Right.
From a ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Taking her to that ship that they were trying to get on, making her actually go there to see the destruction of it all. I don't think it was for them to escape. He wanted her to see the destruction of and the chaos and the rioting and the events that happen right before a next event happens. Because also there was a 360 roll around of Ragnarok going through the same thing. People were running and screaming and revolting and rioting. The place was being destroyed because also we went back to episode 2 where they showed Ragnarok, or episode 1, and he was crying. He was taken back. He was like, "Oh my God, I created this."
Yeah.
You know. So it's it's a whole bunch of back and forth, and like you have to really pay attention to all these. This is why this is such a mastermind. Freaking the writing was it's just godlike.
Yeah.
It's really good. And there's a lot to like go back on, and what I love about the episodes is by the time you're done with the new episode, you're thinking about episode 1 and 2. When we're done with 4, we're gonna be thinking about 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And it's not like you forget about them, and I think that's what separates this show or Marvel in general from, let's say, God, I already forgot about the name of that show. What was it? Jupiter
Sending. Yeah.
There's no thinking about anything, and like after episode's done, you're just kind of like, oh, okay. And you move on to the next one, you just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Whether it's been,
it's just like,
whether it's been WandaVision, Captain America, and the Winter Soldier are now 3 episodes in of Loki. Yep. You can't think about the current episode you're on without going back to the prior episode or episodes, because they are full on telling a story and harking back to moments or letting you think back to moments that are happening prior. I mean, hell, you can even say for this specific Loki, just back into the movies because of how much of a mastermind Loki is. I mean, think of actually when you talk about showing everything and changing places, think about what Loki just did with Agent Coulson and Thor. Like this is kind of like a play into that in some instances too, in some aspects to trick somebody into getting them into an area where they want him to. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. I was originally under the impression maybe Sylvie could be in his mind a little bit, but I am actually complete 180 where I'm with you now. I actually really do think that everything that we're seeing now is all because Loki wants her to see it or showing her it.
And she practically told him how to do. How to do it.
He's a quick learner. He's not stupid, Loki. Like she practically did. Yeah.
The number one clue is he brought her there.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Why'd you bring me here?"
Yeah, let's test the theory. You know that he knows where these Nexus events are that they can jump into. So he magically picks out of anywhere. She even said it, out of anywhere. You chose this, the absolute worst. What did she say? It's like the absolute worst of the Nexus events. Yeah, and he chose that one. I mean, that's, come on now.
Everybody on the planet dies.
Yeah, no one gets off, she says. Area. Yeah.
There's no escape. You have to get off the planet. So, there's a lot of building here. There's a lot to look at. And I'm very excited where this is going. Again, okay, so let's just talk about, let's go off a beat real quick and let's talk about casting.
Okay.
Marvel's pretty good at casting stuff.
Yeah.
I did not like the idea of, I was not blown away by the reveal of Lady Loki. When I saw her, I was just like,
Oh, at the end of the episode she lifts her head and then, yeah, okay.
It's kind of like, all right. Episode 3 loved her.
Yeah.
Episode 3 loved her. Yeah, I didn't like the way it's not about, it's gonna sound very bad when I say I didn't like the way she looked. I just didn't feel she put that aura off on somebody that was just going around killing people. You know?
I agree with you. I feel like they could have shown her off instead of that last like cliffhanger beat, because once you see her in episode 3, you know why they casted her. The way they interacted with one another, the way they went back and forth, it was like Tom Hiddleston and Tom Hiddleston, or Sophia and Sophia talking to each other. It was a perfect match.
They're such kids.
Yeah.
It's so evident that these both of these Lokis just had a crap childhood.
Yep.
Not a crap childhood, but a very, very meager childhood, and they're literally going on a tantrum about shit. The whole fact that there was a reason, everybody, that scene between those two. All right, in cinematography, their camera shots tell everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. In scary movies, you know somebody's about to die when the camera is offset, right?
Yeah.
If it's offset and the camera's focusing on there's a person here. All right, so for instance, how am I looking
know someone's going to be behind you.
Yeah. Right, this is offsetting cameras.
Yep.
You know something's about to come up from behind me, whatever. The scene where they were dead center, he was towering over her, she was pouting, and he had the device in his hand broken, and they sat on that longer than they sat on the bisexual thing.
Yeah.
What? That was all part of a big scheme that Marvel's planning for us to be like, I get it.
She yells, she lets out the burst. He goes, "Did I make you feel better?"
Childish. What do kids do? Scream, pout, run off, and sit down, right? And just pout. He did the same thing. He just ran up to me. He's like, "All right, you good?" Like an older brother almost.
Yeah.
Like, you good? All right, cool. So what we're gonna do now? We're about to die. What do you want to do?
Figure this out.
And he's so calm. Another thing that you have to call back on is that Loki is in control of this. Why do we know Loki's in control? Because he's not freaking out. When Loki knows he's about to be destroyed, he freaks out. He makes mistakes. He's all the number one plan he wants to do is escape. And he's very like, I think he's showing around the planet, bro. I think he's showing her like, this is all the destruction that you're doing. This is all the stuff that's happening while we're sitting here doing all this stuff. What are we going to do to fix it? We both need to get in front of the timekeepers and find out what's going on.
Well, now
his plot changed?
Was that? I'm trying to think. That was before. Well, the device broke before the variant reveal, if I remember correctly. Though. I feel like the variant reveal was when they were walking after they got knocked off the train.
No,
because it was dark. Because it was dark.
When they got knocked off the train, the device broke immediately.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was after they got up and started walking though, because it was still light when they got off the train, and then it was after. But he still is playing the long game here. He's playing the long con.
The variant thing, I want to say, happened before they got on the train.
My second kid is Loki.
Yes,
probably
it did. Because it was before they got on the train, because he was asking her how her power worked. No, it was after.
Chat, do you remember when it was the reveal? Was it
I wanna
before
say
or
it was
after the
before
train?
because he was asking about how the power works. She said she was going back hundreds of years to pull back from their older memories, a happy time when they were with their lovers, or this and that. He
Yeah.
was like, "Wait a minute, what? They're created by," and she said, "Just like I did with that agent." He was like, "Well, they're created by the timekeepers." She was like, "No,
Yeah.
they're all variants." He was like, "Well, they don't know that."
Yeah, they don't.
And then an event happened right when they said that. Something blew up. Something happened. Um, and because they panned out, it was like them kind of small on the screen, and they showed the background of stuff happening. It was definitely before they went to to the town.
To the town, yeah. That the whole
Or the
town was
city.
the end of the episode. Yeah, that was
It
the
was either,
cliffhanger for this episode.
It was definitely after she was explaining her powers.
Okay.
100%, which I believe is
That
when
makes sense.
they got the tick. Yeah, it could have been off the train because she already took over that guy's mind for that let them on the train. So after the train, yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to remember the time in there, but yeah, that was. I love that. I love that kid. The kid aspect between the two. That was dead on.
Children. And they're children that can't get what they want, and they're just upset about it. And that's and it goes back so well because it plays on all the Thor movies. Hell, even the secret "I want my own movie, my own show" kind of thing that Loki hints at, like breaking the fourth wall without truly breaking it. By telling Thor, "It's all about you. It's all about you," and this, that, and the other. And I want to be the main character for once, or some in so many words he says that. But it's very interesting. I really like this. Is probably this is probably my favorite. I mean, Captain America Winter Soldier or Falcon Winter Soldier, grand. But this is good. This is very good.
It's different. Like all three of these series have been completely different, and I've liked them all for their own
different but very important
reasoning. And yeah, very important. Yeah. But I'm like you. Like I loved seeing the story of Anthony Mackie and how real it got. With him going from Falcon, giving up the shield, taking it back, why he took it back, and what that whole 5-minute end speech that he had was, just like you said, goosebumps thinking about it, jaw dropping, and I can't even imagine how others feel. But there's something about this that, like, I get a smile talking about it. Like, it's just like, it's that little piece that like makes me really, really enjoy it and really, really love it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the scene I was talking about, Elwood. It's like
Loki did a
when
play.
he was posing as Odin.
Yep.
And he took over Asgard for a little bit. He was like, "I want to tell you how great I am," but Loki's always trying to tell people how great he is. He gets in front of everybody. He's like, "I want to tell you how great I am, people of Asgard. I'm great. I'm here as your savior." And everybody's like, "What?
Huh?
Ellie,
what now?"
Yeah, it's like, we don't know how massive of a scale that Loki can create illusions either. So there's another thing. That device could have been fake the whole time. As to why he didn't just give it to her. Every time she asked for it, something happened. It's a very, very interesting thought of.
I think he's doing the left hand, right hand cosmic cube thing. That he's playing, and or better yet, because it's this Loki, he hasn't actually done it yet. The Agent Coulson, I'm over here, switch over with Thor now. I think he probably still has one, and he's playing the long game. I don't think they're going to get off the planet with that device. I think, like you said, the TVA is going to actually get in somehow. He probably set something off or did something to get their attention of where they are, and the TVA will grab them, and they'll end up at the beginning or somewhere in this episode inside the TVA, which just happens to be where she wants to be. So
yeah, I think they're gonna start the next episode probably at a simultaneous whatever happened in the events of this episode. They're gonna probably show Mobius and how they got back to TVA, what happened when they got back to TVA. Mobius kind of searching for Loki and finds out that they're probably in the Nexus event, and find out that the Nexus event is this and that, and go from there. Because honestly, at the end of the day, timekeepers see all, right? Is that really true?
Yeah.
Actually, Loki said the timekeepers are probably blind to Nexus events.
I mean, I mean, if they're pulling people from Nexus events, like this goes back to what I said before. I wonder if it's
I
not
don't
that
think they're
they're
pulling them from
I
Nexus
don't think
events. I think they're just pulling them.
you
in
think they're
general.
just pulling them. Well, I don't think when they
Well,
said
I
that
mean,
there is no more multiverse, there is just one linear
that could all be a lie.
timeline. I think that's
100%
a lie. I think they're using the multiverse to grab these other people out and through into their TVA for their nefarious means.
I believe there's variants that go off the line
Mm-hmm.
because it's that story of I got a gut feeling to
Yeah.
take this way to work instead of that way, and then you notice there was a car accident. And you say that could have been me, type thing.
Yeah.
That's us veering. Let's say that's us veering off the time. Veering off the timeline to create our own path. But there's sometimes where you could veer, but you go back to the timeline in general. So I think they're just pulling people that do step off that path. Like
Okay.
in New York City, they're holding glass above you. You decided, I don't know, a car honks at you, a person that knows you, and you walk that way instead of walking straight. In one timeline, you would have walked straight and you probably would have died or something. But
Yeah.
you kind of veered off that path, and kind of like what was it called? What's that movie back in the day? Destiny or
Oh,
not
Final
Destiny?
Destination.
Final Destination, yeah, destination type thing. Probably something they are probably grabbing people, wiping their minds, and creating that
Flame
whatever.
chart.
But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, Mobius he taught Mobius how to find them, no matter where they are. Look
Yeah.
at Nexus events, and I believe that's kind of what's going to happen. But the whole fact that the timekeepers, if they're as powerful as they say, why can't they stop her? That's what Loki's point.
Yeah,
was
that's
in
the other
episode
part.
2.
Yeah.
And he says because she's hiding in Nexus events, they don't have power over this stuff from happening. So,
Damn,
it's like interesting,
Yeah, that is interesting. So they have all this power to go through, or found a way to get through multiverses to grab people through, but they don't have the power to change something. But that also has to deal with time travel then and changing. Yeah, this is a whole topic of discussion, period, because now you're really just diving into time travel, and it's the whole like Homer Simpson episode.
I mean,
you go back, you step on the fly, it changes everything. You go back to not present to step on the fly, but you do something else and it changes something else. Like,
so you can go back to thinking of Thanos and why did Doctor Strange revisit? How many timelines did he revisit?
14 million,
said,
something.
And he found the one that it's possible, but they altered it. And then the whole conversation with the Time Guardian.
Oh yeah, wait a second, that's a great point.
Bruce Banner. How one Infinity Stone being out of place could completely alter time and destroy the timeline. If it's that serious, I mean, what she just didn't destroy anything. She just created chaos across the whole timeline.
Yeah.
But ain't nothing happened. Not yet, and if it was supposed to be that instantaneous, why didn't the timekeeper stop her right there? They don't have, there's something to where either the timekeepers aren't real in this universe, or there's a bigger person playing a hand that just made these timekeepers up to be kind of, I don't know, a play at hand. Maybe it's the Watchers that's doing everything.
I mean, the Watchers we're going to get, even though it's a cartoon version, but we know that they're part of it. We are going to get the Watchers as far as what if. I mean, what happens?
Didn't they stop Thanos?
What happens if this is Kang? We know we getting Kang. Maybe he got rid of the timekeepers because we know how much he hates him.
Yeah, I think this is bigger than Kang.
You think this is bigger than Kang? Okay.
I think he has a role in this, but I think it's bigger than him. But it's like, why didn't the timekeepers stop the in-game events? And if Mobius did touch on, he said because it was supposed to happen. Then why the heck did you allow the Avengers to go back and screw up time? Because they did it right.
Stay there because they did that right. Yeah, who's making these rules to make them stay there and do it right? The timekeepers. So yeah, there's a whole lot of questions.
There's a big question mark. I think episode 1 is way more important than we're leading on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to rethink about. By the way, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please give them in chat because we got
a couple of minutes left here. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got questions, theories, and stuff, please say so. Hey, you're Modness, how you doing? And we can go in there. I mean, we got through this a lot faster than I thought we would.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about, and the reason why I say it might bleed over is because I want you guys to make sure you see episode 3 if you haven't seen it already. And episode 4 coming up. I think episode 4 is going to answer a lot of questions that we have for episode 3, but kind of take in what we said about this whole thing because this show is very important. This is going to probably open the door. It's so important that it has a second season. There is no other show, I don't think, that got another season announced besides.
I think the only other one was What If, and that's its own ball of wax.
Because
period.
Captain
They're taking
America, Falcon Soldier
movie.
Got a movie.
Yeah.
Named Captain America's Winter Soldier.
I thought it was
I don't
Cap
think it's
4.
called Winter Soldier anymore.
I think it's just called Cap 4. As of right now, it's titled Captain America 4, I believe.
Right.
There's no official title
coming.
Yeah.
It might be called Captain America White Wolf.
That would be cool. They briefly,
because he's essentially grown from Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
In Captain America Winter Soldier, he's still the Winter Soldier. Mentally. And he's breaking that, throughout the whole episode. So I'm very interested in that too.
I really like that, Nightshade. There is a lot of Wizard of Oz references with the TVA there, and having you pull back the curtain and it's just Joe Schmo back there smoking a cigar, like, whoa, what are you doing there?
I was kidding. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there's a big bad here, but I don't think it might be Mephisto.
So the interesting thing, since you brought that up, the head of this series was the original writer of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and we know how this is it all connects, So could it be Mephisto? Could it be Nightmare? Could it be one of those characters or beings that are actually pulling the strings back there? Or is it, hell, maybe, could it be another Loki? It's not Morbius. Morbius isn't Loki, but maybe there is a bigger Loki at play that was here once before, pulling these strings again. Because, I mean, if the show's called Loki, why not have the big bad of it as well as the big good Loki? Like there's a lot. I
mean, hell, what if Sylvie is in control of Loki's mind, and this is all something that she's just pulling from?
But you know what? That's a good point. To harken back on what you said. So Loki's magic didn't work at all. Sometimes it shows up green, sometimes it didn't. In the episode, when he pushes the people on the train or hits them on the train, our Loki's green. But when he Super Saiyans up at the end of the episode to push back the falling building, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And female Loki, so far what we've always seen, especially when she touches somebody, it does the spark or shows green, like we saw at the beginning of the episode in TVA, even didn't work. But when she touches Loki, it doesn't go off. So that leads me once again to believe that it could be our boy playing with her.
We haven't seen.
God, there's so many things.
Well, it's so many theories, but we don't know what Loki can actually do though.
Yeah,
we've only seen pieces of what Loki does, and 9 times out of 10 in the old Avengers movies, he's using daggers half the time. That's just a part of it. That's just a little part of him.
Which I liked how we went back.
Daggers were the first time we seen those daggers materialized. The daggers are physical objects, and on top of that, he's always brought them out of his sleeves. But they were the first time we've seen them actual materialized with like
coming in and out. Yep.
Yeah. What the heck?
I think yeah.
And I never really paid attention to it till now because I was just like, oh, it's Loki. But he's always doing, right? It's a sleeve trick. Daggers appeared. And then it was taken away from him. If he can just materialize daggers, it doesn't matter if they took the daggers away from him in the TVA. I know they said his powers don't work there, but I don't know. There's a lot to explain there. But yeah, him stopping the building was interesting. Even my wife was like, he could do that?
Yeah, and that wasn't, let's one again. I've seen some things on the end that wasn't Infinity Stone time manipulation. That was him just true power at that point. He was just Super Saiyan just throwing it back, protecting him and Sylvie to move on. Or it was an illusion, because I've never
like
seen
a reversal of time.
I've never seen his power in that large of effect though.
Nobody's have seen this MCU's Loki's power.
Yeah.
He's just been doing magic tricks, and they constantly call it magic tricks, like a little kid's magic show.
Yeah.
They literally keep saying it's so much. These are children aspects. These are children fighting over. Think about it. Every episode. I'm better. No, I'm better. You know, it's mine. And I want it now.
I really like
Loki
that
with
part
his
of it,
daggers, with the power. Sylvie with wanting to get to the TVA. I want to see it. I want to be front and center. And they're not going to say no to me. And now they're just pouting back and forth and going. It's all showing that these kids and then introducing child Loki into the mix of a thing, or young Loki in the mix of things. It's all owed to being a freaking kid. Like, this is, and it's hitting back home to the son mother daughter mother relationship. Yep. Mobius calling him, God, you're such a child. Him saying that constantly. Or what happened to Loki wants to talk all the time. Children just ask a lot of questions. They talk all the time. It's just so much. What do you want to be when you grow up? So the aspect of it, right?
Yep.
What do you want to out of all this? Well, you can answer the question.
Yeah.
It's like what a kid would say. It's just so much there, man. The writing is just, God. It's just, man. I just wish DC can get on this level of writing.
I want to get these people on our show and really talk about it at the end.
Yeah.
Marvel, who do we got to talk to?
Yeah.
Oh man.
What if he didn't push the building, but temporarily reverse the flow of time for that building? That's what it looked like. It looked like time reversal, because the building didn't just go.
He didn't necessarily shoot it up. It did have that kind of like rewind effect. Yeah.
So this could all be in the mind. I think he learned how to do her magic and did it on her while she was asleep.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen that version of Loki be an extremely quick learner and to get people on his side just recently in these first 3 episodes. So there is no reason of thought to not believe that 1 or 2 sentences that she said on how to use the mind manipulation trick, that he couldn't learn it. I mean, I'm fully on board with that.
It when she touched him.
Because there was a couple of times she grabbed him.
We saw some green. She touched him, and it went through. He said, "Why doesn't it work on you?"
There was green. I don't remember seeing green.
Yeah, it was green.
Okay,
it was green. And she says, "Why didn't it work on you?" And he was like, "Because I know how it works."
Yeah, or he goes, "Because I'm smart or strong," or he says like he did. Yeah. He showed off that he wasn't there, but yeah. He did grab her before they went on the train too. Like when he did the whole I'm the guard, I'm a bad actor whole routine, right? He went up behind her and grabbed her, so that could have been another way of getting into her mind. There was instances in the episode where you can definitely put that towards the theory, because he got drunk. She's like, "Wait, you didn't sleep?" "No, I get drunk. That's like how I do my feeling thing," which is yeah.
Funny enough, couple of things we don't know. He could have taken a time stone.
But is it the same? But how do you know what universe it is? What multiverse it's part of?
He chose it.
I do really believe that he chose it. Yeah.
I don't think that. I think that's a little far fetched, but I mean, it could. You might be onto something, though. I mean, I don't rule that out. There's a whole reason why he told that he chose that time zone out of anything. And he had to.
And it's the absolute worst, as she said,
because he had no idea it existed. He had to pre-research it.
Oh yeah,
he even threw her for a loop. Someone that's been traveling for God knows how many years.
Well,
I don't know.
It is that time, chat. It's 1:45. So this is another episode, quick math, episode 8 of the Commix show coming to an end. For those of you that haven't been here the whole time, if you want to go back, by all means, you'll see it as a VOD. We'll be up on a podcast here shortly on the Rare Drop channel of networks. We went over episode 2, episode 3, some theory crafting in between, especially at the end. We talked about E3 and Summerfest, some of the awesome stuff coming through there as far as video games and the overall industry itself. But outside of that, boys and girls, that's gonna be it. Your homework. watch episode 4 when it comes out.
And rewatch the other episodes if you're very interested in theory
Yes.
crafting and breaking stuff down, because I'm gonna be honest with you, when you rewatch these episodes, you'll actually catch a lot more than you're not really paying attention to the main plot. You're paying attention to like all the little secrets and stuff that was kind of thrown in there. You catch a lot on the second and third time around. When I have some time, I'm probably gonna work through, especially 3. 3 is something
There's a lot of
revisit
stuff,
couple
yeah.
times.
And just know there's 3 episodes left. We're gonna be here for them, talking to you. If you have additional questions for us, whether it's this, anything Marvel, DC, superhero, He-Man's Masters of the Universe, and anything in between related, make sure to check us out. We're both here on Twitch, streaming daily. My social media and my Twitch is all at Nighthawk Plays. Frank, Technique?
It's Technique on Twitch. Take away the TV, and on Twitter it's TV. Everything else is TV. Because I can't get my name for some reason.
Yeah, gotta love it. But yeah, you can check us out daily. Our schedules are somewhat set, but life fluctuates, especially here in the summertime. So be on the lookout for us. I mean, I always talk about it with chat, as some people in here can say, as I'm sure Frank can say as well. So we would love to chat with you about it. But I think with that, man, Frank, and to everyone out there, have a wonderful weekend, man. Bring us out.
All right, guys, have a great day, and thank you for showing up and being here every week. Those that show up, and tell your friends about the episode. Tell your friends about the podcast. Also, tell your friends about Rare Drop and all the lovely stuff that they have on this channel. And there may be some changes coming up in the near future, but nothing bad. All good.
All
So
good.
keep your eye out for that. And yeah, thank you so very much, everybody. Hope you have a beautiful night, day, whatever you plan
Wherever
on doing.
you
Your day.
are.
Be safe. Wear your dang mask, because vaccinations don't stop the COVID. Tell you that firsthand. Not from me, but a family member of mine got COVID after vaccination. So make sure you mask up and be safe out there, guys. But as always, we'll see you next time on The Mix. Take it easy.
Bye.
Peace.